Redskins upset the Oakland Raiders, even though they are technically the home team. And obviously, for me, my weekly picks have not gone very well, especially this one, because I picked the Raiders to win this one. Now, as you know, or probably have seen a couple of my analysis videos, I have talked about the winning team first and then the losing team second. And with the winning team, I start with the negatives first and then I end with them on a positive note because they won the game. But then the losing team, I start with the positives and then ends with the negatives so they can end on a negative note because they lost. And so that's just how I do it and all that. So let's get started. So when it comes to the Washington Redskins, their offensive line, it's really just Trent Williams, who I constantly get confused with Terran Armstead with. Now, when it comes to their tackle play, it's usually pretty good. Their other right tackle is pretty good, but the interior line is terrible. It can be really easily penetrated. If you had an Ndamukong Suh right there or Aaron Donald coming up the middle, they would go all day on the Redskins. That's why the Eagles won first hand meeting because they just kept on rushing out. And also they had the offensive capabilities to move up the field and whatnot. So when it comes to this, the Redskins are just weak on the interior side of the defensive line. And also when it comes to the receivers aren't really impressing me. Terrell Pryor is still dropping a ton of passes. Yes, I repeat, a ton of passes. And the idea about it is this guy can be a really good playmaker at times. However, it just you're gonna have to catch the ball first when he comes to this. But he's not bad, and I expect better from him. Obviously, he's on a 1 year deal, but you usually expect more from that. And also, Jordan Reed wasn't out there. There's some concerns with the injuries and whatnot. And also, when it looks at the Redskins, why I can't get, or a Redskins fan can't get too giddy over this, is simply because they've done this before at home on a primetime game. Yes, they did this against the Green Bay Packers last year, and the Green Bay Packers made it to the NFC Conference game. But the Redskins didn't make the playoffs, though. So that's a big concern right here on all of that. And the one thing about the Redskins are they're the definition of the middle of the pack team. They are the team where they're they're pretty good on, or they're okay on the defensive side of the ball when it comes to personnel. They got Josh Norman, they got Ryan Kerrigan, and all of that. And then on the offensive side, they got Kirk Cousins and Jordan Reed, and then it's just it from there. It's nothing really too spectacular and all that. They're just the definition of a middle of the pack team right now. And I just look at that and just think to myself that they're probably going to need to make a trade for some sort of player down the road and to be able to produce and whatnot. Now, when it comes to the Redskins, some of their free agent signings of this year haven't delivered. Terrell Pryor is one I've been talking about. Zach Brown got penalized on one play that ended up going for a touchdown. Lovely. And the running game still concerns me, especially their running game. They haven't even attacked or to go after a running back. And I think that's definitely a concern because for some reason, running the ball is very important in DC for some reason. And when it comes to this, sometimes they fade away from the run game. Yeah, because Robert Kelly and Matt Jones, or really just Robert Kelly because Matt Jones is cut, is he will have those good games here and there when it comes to running the ball, but he isn't consistent. They don't got a running back that they can consistently rely on and give him the ball. Sure, they like Rob Kelly and all of that, but he isn't going to deliver the 4 yards per carry and whatnot. And this is one of my big issues here with it because I think a running game would definitely help the Redskins out. I think they're a team that would appreciate having running lanes get open and all. And I'm not sure how many running backs will be on the free agent market. I heard Adrian Pearson will be, but that's still a little bit of a stretch because he just signed with New Orleans and whatnot. And I just think Pearson's just up there in age. So I just look at it and think to myself, the Washington Redskins still have some way to go when it comes to their roster. Now, when it comes to their positives, Chris Thompson obviously is one of the more underrated receiving backs in the league. I've seen him produce a lot against some quality players here and there, and against some quality teams and some quality games. And he comes up big as a good scat back, just going out there getting after that. Like their running game might not be good, but it's the running game, not necessarily running back, because Chris Thompson's a quality player right there. And then you had some good next man up right here with Vernon Davis getting that touchdown early. Nice on a nice vertical route. Better dot by Kirk Cousins. And then you got their draft pick Josh Doxson who did well. He actually did something for them and caught a touchdown, and was a pretty big touchdown in that game. Jamison Crowder, obviously he had that one muff punt, which was a big deal, but it didn't cost him the game. And Jamison Crowder is still one of the best return men in the NFL. Also, to bring up another note, is Josh Norman played like a shutdown corner. He shut down Michael Crabtree, who also struggles against a lot of good cornerbacks. I mean, he doesn't really do well against Richard Sherman. I mean, he is a sorry receiver after all and whatnot. And it's just something that Michael Crabtree doesn't really have. Amari Cooper, I'm just not very sure what he did and all of that. And when it comes to this overall, they got pressure on Derek Carr, which is extremely important. It's actually not easy to do. Like Derek Carr didn't have a great day in the pocket, which I'll get to in a second. However, they're going up against a good old line in Oakland. Oakland has one of the best offensive lines in football. Donald Penn is one of the best left tackles in the league. Kalichi Asamuel, I think that's how you pronounce his name, but he's a good player. And there's a lot of talent on that Raiders O line. And I have to say the Redskins did a good job penetrating. Now let's get on to the Raiders. Now some of the positives with the Raiders is they still kind of stayed into the game and whatnot. They're still in there, and I think one thing for sure about the Raiders is I definitely look at them and I still have faith in them as a team. There was some concerns with them. I know Colin Cowherd delivered up how they are just a 10-6 team. I think they're a 12-win team, to be honest with you. I really do think they're a 12-win team, just like they were last year. But they thought that the games were played were just a little bit too close for Colin Cowherd's liking, I guess. And so I just thought that when it comes to this game, the Raiders still have a faith in the future. I didn't really see too much positive. I thought Jalen Richards did a pretty good job. He did better than Marshawn Lynch last night, to be honest with you. And I have to say, for the O-line for the Raiders, still didn't do a bad job last night. I wouldn't say the job wasn't really all that bad. There's some of those plays were coverage sacks here and there, but also they went up against a good Redskins pass rush with Ryan Kerrigan and also Junior Gillette, who now is starting to play again. So that's definitely something, definitely a positive here and there. And I thought that the Raiders kind of competed all through the game and all that. And the game plan for the Raiders wasn't bad whatsoever. I thought that did. But overall, I thought it was a game that they should have won. And here, let's talk about the negatives. Derek Carr, I am concerning about him being a primetime performer. Now, Derek Carr, I've been a big fan of him ever since 2014. Yes, I have. I wasn't a fan of him at Fresno State. Not saying I disliked him at Fresno State. I just really just didn't know about him, nor do I care about Fresno State. I didn't even know there was a quarterback coming out of Fresno State. It's not really a college football powerhouse. But when it comes to this, Derek Carr, I am really concerned about him being a primetime performer because I'm just not sure if he is. And the compete level, I think that if it's in a really big moment of the game, we haven't really seen him compete that much. Sure, the regular season drives, he has delivered here and there. However, who cares about the regular season game winning drives? Because in reality, those drives only matter when they're in the playoffs and the Super Bowl. And sometimes they don't translate. Believe it or not, do you know who has the most game-winning drives in NFL history? Peyton Manning. Yeah, he's known as one of the biggest choke artists in the NFL, or at least one of the bigger choke artists from a Hall of Fame quarterback standpoint. Obviously, fantastic regular season quarterback, but like playoff-wise, not so much. He wasn't exactly the clutch duckling that he was, but he still had the most game-winning. So Derek Carr does make some game-winning drives, but there is a lack of compete level with him. And I just feel as if that there is some concerns with him playing in prime time. I know he did that against last year was against the Kansas City Chiefs. It was a cold weathered game. He just didn't do so well. And his lack of competitiveness goes back to high school. I know lack of competitiveness seems a little bit strong, but to be honest, he didn't even try to get the starting quarterback job when he was in high school. He just lollygagged around and just didn't care. The only reason why he got the job was because the starting quarterback got injured. That's how he got in. That's what I learned from TPS on the top 20 facts on Derek Carr. And that was definitely something going on. Now you look at their second corner, Amerson. Now Amerson blew last night. He was exploited on like every single target he was, and his coverage was least close, but they're just not making plays out there. And Amerson might become the #1 corner pretty soon because Sean Smith has a court case against him. And the court case is on September 27th, and he could face up to 7 years of prison, which would ultimately end his NFL career because the man is 30 years old or 29. He's up there in age. So when you put that in perspective, I made a video on it. Click in the link in the description if you're interested. But obviously, you want to keep watching this, guys, because this is some top-notch analysis right here. And when it comes to this, I just think that they're gonna lose that #1 corner right there in Sean Smith. You got Amerson to rely on. Amerson was burned by Josh Doxson last year. He was the Redskins' #4 target, so that's a big concern. And if that guy's gonna move up to be their #1 corner, that's definitely something that's a big concern. Michael Crabtree and Amari Cooper got shut down last night. Now, I know Josh Norman is a great cornerback, and I kind of expected that to happen to Michael Crabtree. And not only that, Rashad Breeland, he can have some good moments here and there, especially against, I feel like, wide receivers that aren't exactly, well, anyway, when it comes to the elite wide receivers, Rashad Breeland maybe doesn't do so well. So if you have Rashad Breeland against Julio Jones would probably get 3 touchdowns. However, he's going up against Amari Cooper, who's a good wide receiver, or a very good wide receiver, however you ever put it. He's just not great. And Rashad Breeland basically just took him out of the game, which is not good by Amari Cooper. And Derek Carr does like Amari Cooper at times. And Derek Carr, I felt, struggled to make reads. Now sometimes he made reads last year where he would throw in the triple coverage and double coverage and it paid off for him, but here it just didn't. He just wasn't making reads. And that was like the first play of the game too. He threw it for an interception. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me, Derek Carr. And I just put that in perspective. It's just not looking very good. The safety play for the Raiders, it's not bad, but it needs to be better. It needs to freaking improve. And Khalil Mack just didn't have a great job. I found there was this one play where he just completely whiffed on the run late in the game, and Jack Del Rio was just yelling at him like, "You need to do this." And it's Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack's a top 10 player in the NFL. So that's definitely some concerns, right? And the Raiders just look completely dysfunctional. There's no right. Like Amari Cooper is known for a great route runner. It was a big time in the game where they needed to complete a 3rd down and long, and Amari Cooper didn't do anything special to throw off the cornerback guy. He just kind of ran straight. He was just quitting. I thought the Raiders kind of quit in that game, to be honest with you, and that's a big concern right there. And overall, the Raiders, I do have a lot of faith in them. There is some questions, though, whether I think that they can play against prime time or the strength of schedule. You name it, there's some concern there for the Raiders. But with the Washington Redskins, good win. Celebrate this for now because we're not sure how they'll look from now in the month, simply because I've seen the Redskins beat really good teams at home. However, that does not guarantee them a playoff berth. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe for more videos similar like this. I upload basically every day, almost, I would say like 5 or 6 times a week. So if you want some top NFL analysis, I'm your guy right here. I'm also thinking about dabbing a little bit in the NBA. I only have like 2 NBA videos. But other than that, though, all right, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good night.